people. But the Gemara says that for Katsa de Harsuna, which means for at least something special for Shabbos, that a person, if he doesn't have anything, he has to be willing to ask. Because you shouldn't go into Shabbos without a special treat. I know someone, he said, this treat I can't eat during the week. Only on a Shabbos I could have such a treat. I forgot what the treat was, but I remember him saying, like, this type of food, I would never eat it on a weekday. It's too geschmack. I save it for Shabbos. There's a picture here of Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, and everyone can see his big smile, where they call it an infectious smile. That means it's contagious smile. Someone sees it, and they're happy too. So my son Avram told me a story that a bacher once went to the Gadol, to the Paisik Hadar, Rosh Hashiva of Kol Torah, Rabbi Auerbach, Shlomo Zalman, to ask him for a bracha. I'm not just sure what the bracha was for, but he asked for a bracha. And you know what Shlomo Zalman did? He said, I taught the bacher how to smile. I saw he didn't know how to smile. He was too sad, depressed, serious. A Ben Torah has to have a smile. And I heard this b'shem, Rabbi Yerucham Levovitz, that also, even though he lived at a very serious time of the Holocaust, when the Mir Yeshiva was escaping from the clutches of the Nazis in Mashmam Zichram, he said he was makbid. Yeshiva boys have to be happy, have to smile. Why? A person walks in, he's going to see, what is this people doing here? If he sees your besimcha, this makes a Kiddush Hashem. He says Torah is a geschmacka thing. If he sees people that are sad, he might think that Torah is a boring, sad thing. So Ben Torah has to really make sure that... Oh, it's actually in this book. And that story comes from this book, from an art school book here, Great Jewish Wisdom, how he taught him how to smile. Now, on that note, I want to tell you an interesting story I read. Rabbi Shimon Schwab, I believe it was Rabbi Shimon Schwab, maybe it was Rabbi Mordechai Schwab, who was there to lead the Breuer community, the Yakis, the German Jews, and he was the crown, the jewel of their crown. A great tzaddik, great Talmid Chacham. And Rabbi Schwab, Saif Yamav, before his Petira, had to be wheeled in a wheelchair. But he was careful to smile and greet people with simcha. So someone said, Rebbe, it's so beautiful to see Rebbe b'simcha, but I see Rebbe is very makbid to be b'simcha. But isn't it hard to be b'simcha? So he said, imagine someone gave you $1 million. And then that person says, do you mind if I just have 5,000 back? You would say, sure. You gave me so much. Take what you need. You have another 5,000. So he said, it's the same thing. Hashem gave me so much. So much Hashem gives me. So if he, at that time, took away his ability to walk, should he not be happy? There's so much Hashem gives you. If you add up, what does it mean to have eyes, ears, nose, mouth, health, a stomach, a brain, of course. So you're so grateful, so happy. And that bacher in the cheder told me, a boy named Levine, told me a very cute story. And this is also about being happy and appreciating the bracha Hashem gives you. He said that we know a lot of times you could take a cup and you fill up the cup a half with, let's say, water, and you ask a person, is this empty or full? So some people will say it's half empty, and others will say it's half full. The person who says half empty, he's always looking like a pessimist at what we don't have. So he's not always happy. He's always noticing what we don't have. We don't have half. The other one says it's half full. That means he's noticing that, hey, we have something half. So they asked Rabbi Miller, is it half empty or half full? And Rabbi Miller said it's all full. It's full of water and it's full of air. Oxygen is also a bracha to be able to breathe. So that's also an example where a person has to appreciate what Hashem gives him. One more thought before I dismiss you to lunch. Very often, a person goes to the washroom And when he comes out, he's in a rush to do things. Chazal tell us, if you're careful to say the bracha of Asher Yatzar slowly with kavana, it's a zechus, a segula, you shouldn't get sick. Rabbi said there are so many people today in hospitals, in therapy, having treatments, medications. If you have such an easy segula, say Asher Yatzar with kavana. Rabbi Fran says this is the bracha where you thank Hashem for your health. Now let's say you say, well, everyone has health. So maybe you don't want to say the bracha with intense kavana. So maybe it's a good idea to walk through a rehabilitation center where I have to go visit usually every week. Someone I love is there. And if a person goes to hospital, you can realize how many people aren't zeicha or aren't in a situation of such wealth. And then I'll thank Hashem with much more enthusiasm. And I just want to invite you to my office. If you go to my office on Avenue J,
where is it?
By Yad Yosef, the Torah Center, behind the door, there's 10 kavanas to have when you say Asher Yatzar.
Where is it?
So this way, I like when I go to my office, I stop, I look at the chart, 10. If you want a copy, you can come pick it up from me. I have it in the other room,
Right now.
in the 5th grade. I call it scientific Torah, where I explain to you what you should think by the bracha of Asher Yatzar. And there's many kavanas there. You're thanking Hashem for creating you with food. And that when you were born, that the food went through your umbilical cord. And your mouth that time was closed. And then Hashem closed your stomach and opened your mouth. And that you don't fall down constantly. Paiskim say when you have a balloon with a hole in it, the balloon falls down. Sags. Your body has so many holes, so technically we could be falling down. But Hashem gives us the ability to stand. These are all types of kavanahs to have when we say Asher Yatzar, to thank Hashem for the gift for a healthy body that functions normally. Thank you very much. Okay, I'd like to share with you a story from this sefer. It's called Sha'al Avicha V'Yageidcha, which means ask your father and he'll tell you. It says in the Torah, Sha'al Avicha V'Yageidcha. Move this way, I want to see everyone. And this sefer was written by the one and only Rav Shalom Mordechai HaKohen Shvadron. He was called the Maggid of Yerushalayim. A Maggid is a big Talmid Chacham who travels around cities meeting Jewish people and talking to them and finding out if they're strong in their avodas Hashem or if they're weak. And he finds areas that they need chizuk in, and he gives them musar, and he gives them inspiration and stories. He's basically a very qualified storyteller. Not like a storyteller that just reads a story without meaning. His stories are based on the whole Torah. So when he talks, his stories are very powerful. So I bought this set about 30 years ago, and I love an opportunity to use it. I don't think I used it for this class yet. So we'll start with the story. The story is called Running Away from Glory, from Honor. There are many people in this world that run after honor and glory. They want people to give them attention, to notice them, look at them, praise them. Okay, it's not the worst thing. Chazal even say sometimes it's good to do a mitzvah shalol lishma, just for kavod, because one day you'll do the mitzvah for kavod. So if, let's say, a boy says, I'm going to make a Messium on the whole Masechta Gemara, and we'll make a big party, and he wants the honor, okay, not bad. One day he'll make the Siyum without all the honor. But you know what? It's okay to want a little honor. But there are some people, they're such big tzaddikim that they don't want honor from people. They just want to serve Hashem. Not because people are going to praise them and compliment them. Obviously, that's a much higher level than someone who does mitzvahs because people are going to watch him. I'll give you an example. You see two kids in shul. One of them, he's good because he's getting a raffle ticket and he's going to win a bicycle. All right, hey, that's good too. But then there's another kid, don't give me tickets, I don't need your tickets, I just want to daven. He's a whole different level. You know what I'm saying? He's much greater. Okay. The story is about Reb Zusha, who was the brother of Reb Elimelech of Lazinsk. They were two great Hasidic leaders who literally were mashpia on the Jewish people. The Jewish people have many tribes. There's 12 Shvatim. There's the Vishnitz tribe, and the Bobov tribe, and the Belz tribe, and the Satmar tribe, and the Moroccan and Syrian tribe, and then there's the Egyptian tribe, the Lubavitch tribe. We have 12 tribes, 12 Shvatim. But these Gedolim are mashpia on everybody. So let's hear the great story. Reb Zusha, he was called Reb Zusha, was very humble. And he used to try to stay out of the limelight. He didn't try to get attention. You know, some people, they like to get attention. They give a big donation to the shul. They want their name on a big plaque. And there are some people, they are v'hatzneya lechasim Hashem aleikecha. That means they go humbly before Hashem and they don't need anyone to notice them, just Hashem. He was Reb Zusha. I hear some talking this side of the room. I'd really appreciate if we could control ourselves to the break. Reb Zusha's whole ambition was to know as much Torah as he can. There's so much Torah. How much of it is a person going to be zeicha to learn in his lifetime? Some people are zeicha to learn tons. Some people are not zeicha even to learn a little. Some are Talmidei Chachamim. Some are Amei Haaretz. His avodah of tefillah was stark. He would say to him that Klal Yisrael should be well and not become sick. How many healthy people suddenly die sometimes from illness? It's hard to believe. What happened to him? He was so healthy. Hashem has his reasons, but we could pray that Hashem should have mercy, and that's why it says in Tehillim, it says Lam Natseyach Mizmor LaDavid. Lam Natseyach means to become victorious. When you daven, you could even become victorious on Hashem. That even if Hashem wanted to do one thing, you could change Hashem's mind through your tefillah. That you realize how powerful you are? I never knew someone could be more powerful than Hashem. It sounds impossible. Hashem is the all power. Your tefillah makes you can even make Hashem change his mind. You might think, but my tefillah is so insignificant. It's not. We're going to continue davening with Hashem after the story. It turns out he had very good midos. He didn't care about someone that had a bigger fancy house than him. You know, some people, they're jealous. They walk around looking, ooh, this one has a more beautiful garden than me. This one has a nicer carriage or car than me. A person with good midos is modest. He knows Hashem loves me and cares for me and he takes care of me. He gives me what I need. I don't need that. It's a good midos. Not jealous. It turns out he used to learn in his little corner, practically hidden from the crowd. He didn't need attention. It turns out Reb Zusha was very poor. And he suffered because a person who's poor, it says, Kol Yemei Ani Rayim. All the days of a poor person are bad in the sense that he feels broke. But not Reb Zusha. He was poor, but he was always Malei Simcha. He was Sameach, a happy person. I might ask someone in the back to leave the room till I'm done with the story. He was Sameach. And that's a great madrega. Someone who trusts in Hashem, he's a Sameach person. I like the days that I feel Sameach. Some days I feel very Sameach, some days I don't. But Sameach is a good thing. I saw a man in shul today. Nebuch, he didn't have a foot. He was in a wheelchair. And he was pointing to me and he said, I like you because you're Sameach. I felt very humbled seeing him roll over in his wheelchair to the Sefer Torah to give it a kiss, and he's telling me that he likes me Sameach. Well, I guess if you have 2 feet, you should be very Sameach. It turns out he didn't care about the luxuries of this world, the fancy things, the fancy couches and furniture. What was chashiv to him was, I could serve Hashem. He didn't care how much money he had in the pocket, or maybe he didn't have any money in the pocket. He would still sing to Hashem and learn Torah and do mitzvahs, and he felt wealthy. Because wealthy doesn't necessarily mean the money in the bank. Wealthy means that I have a relationship with Hashem. I'm connected to the Rebbeinu Shalom. He was happy with whatever Hashem gave him, and he felt as if I'm not lacking anything. But the fact was, his house was quite empty. The cupboards were bare. He was really an ani. And while some people would go around grabbing any job, or maybe